The Holy Bible stands as a beacon of moral guidance, weaving a tapestry of virtues that lead adherents towards salvation and divine harmony. Its teachings, rooted in compassion, justice, and faith, offer a blueprint for living righteously, promising eternal reward. Yet, the human imagination has long conjured an antithetical vision, a book of evil, a philosophical manifesto that instructs readers to embrace malevolence, sow chaos, or court damnation in direct opposition to the Bible's sanctity. This notion, seductive in its darkness, remains a phantom. No text, whether widely circulated or shrouded in obscurity, fulfills the role of an evil Bible, a guide to a life of deliberate wickedness or spiritual ruin. Subversive literature, from revolutionary manifestos to esoteric grimoires, dances around this archetype but never embodies it, revealing a profound truth. Evil, as a codified philosophy, is unsustainable, fragmented by human desires for power, liberation, or provocation. This essay explores the absence of such a text, tracing the philosophical threads of subversive works and their failure to coalesce into a doctrine of malevolence, asserting that their provocative or reformist intents reflect humanity's complex relationship with power and morality, not a unified embrace of evil. The Bible's narrative, with its commandments and visions of heaven, provides a cohesive philosophy of living for spiritual transcendence. Its widespread influence stems from its alignment with universal aspirations for meaning and goodness. In contrast, the idea of an evil Bible, a manual for wickedness, perhaps leading to hell or celebrating harm, lacks a historical counterpart. Subversive texts, often labeled as malevolent, serve instead as critiques of authority or explorations of hidden knowledge, not as guides to unmitigated evil. Widely read works like the Satanic Bible provoke through symbolic rebellion, challenging religious norms but advocating individualism over harm. The Anarchist Cookbook stirs controversy with its call to chaos, yet its intent is protest, not moral decay. Even texts like Malleus Maleficarum, steeped in historical violence, aim to enforce religious order, not to guide individuals toward damnation. These works, despite their notoriety, weave philosophical threads of reform, defiance, or control, not pure malevolence. Obscure texts, particularly those delving into magic and demonology, venture closer to the dark allure of an evil Bible, yet they too fall short. Grimoires like the Grand Grimoire and the Lesser Key of Solomon explore forbidden rituals, but their focus is on power or esoteric wisdom, not a lifestyle of evil. Truly heinous texts, if they exist, remain so obscure that they evade cultural discourse, their content too repugnant for acceptance. Authors of such works, driven by provocation or delusion, risk social ostracism or self-destruction, as their ideas clash with humanity's preference for meaning over chaos. The cultural fascination with an evil Bible reflects a projection of fear onto subversive ideas, from witchcraft to radical politics, yet these texts reveal more about human psychology, our need to demonize dissent, than about a tangible doctrine. This essay examines 4 dimensions of this absence: the historical evolution of subversive philosophies, the provocative nature of widely read texts, the esoteric limits of obscure grimoires, and the human impulses that prevent a codified evil doctrine, weaving a narrative that illuminates why malevolence remains an elusive myth. Chapter 1. Historical Evolution of Subversive Philosophies. Subversive texts have long challenged the pillars of authority, weaving philosophical critiques that disrupt societal norms, yet none crystallize into an evil Bible. Their ideas, rooted in rebellion or reform, reflect a spectrum of human aspirations, from justice to self-discovery, rather than a unified doctrine of malevolence. The Communist Manifesto, published in 1848, articulates a vision of class struggle, urging the oppressed to overthrow capitalist hierarchies. Its philosophy of collective liberation, while radical, seeks economic justice, not wickedness, framing subversion as a path to equity. The Social Contract, published in 1762, reimagines governance through popular sovereignty, challenging monarchical tyranny with a call for democratic freedom. Common Sense, released in 1776, ignites rebellion against colonial oppression, advocating liberty as a moral imperative. These works, woven into the fabric of revolutionary thought, subvert power structures but align with virtuous ideals, not malevolent intent. As history unfolded, subversive philosophies diversified, each threading new ideas into the tapestry of dissent, yet none approached an evil Bible's scope. Das Kapital, published in 1867, dissects capitalism's exploitative mechanisms, weaving a critique that seeks systemic change, not personal harm. What is to be done? Published in 1902, outlines revolutionary organization, its philosophy rooted in emancipating the working class, not fostering evil. Rules for Radicals, published in 1971, empowers communities to shift power dynamics, its pragmatic tactics grounded in social justice, not moral decay. Manufacturing Consent, published in 1988, unveils media manipulation, advocating transparency through critical awareness. Even the Book of the Law, published in 1904, channels esoteric rebellion into a philosophy of individual will, seeking self-actualization, not destruction. These texts, spanning political and spiritual realms, weave a narrative of challenging authority, not codifying malevolence. Historically, texts labeled as evil often served regulatory or ideological ends, not personal wickedness. Malleus Maleficarum, published in 1486, enforced religious orthodoxy by targeting alleged witches, its philosophy rooted in control, not a guide to evil living. Quotations from Chairman Mao Tse-tung, published in 1964, drove ideological conformity, its revolutionary zeal aimed at reshaping society, not corrupting individuals. These works, while linked to violence, were tools of power, not manuals for damnation. Their widespread influence reflects their alignment with specific agendas, unlike an evil Bible, which would require a philosophy of unmitigated harm absent in historical discourse. The evolution of subversive thought reveals a pattern. Texts challenge specific injustices or norms, weaving ideas of reform or empowerment, not a cohesive doctrine of evil. This historical narrative underscores that subversion, while potent, is driven by human aspirations for change, not a desire for malevolence, thwarting the emergence of an evil Bible. Chapter 2. Provocative nature of widely read subversive texts. Widely circulated subversive texts captivate through provocation, weaving philosophies that challenge norms without embracing true malevolence. The Satanic Bible, published in 1969, stands as a prime example, its author Anton LaVey crafting a philosophy of individualism and hedonism. By invoking Satan as a symbol of rebellion, it subverts Christian morality, urging readers to prioritize self-interest and earthly fulfillment over divine obedience. Its provocative tone, laced with theatrical rituals, shocks traditionalists, yet its core is a critique of religious dogma, not a call to harm or damnation. Far from an evil Bible, it weaves a narrative of personal liberation, threading ideas of skepticism and autonomy into a philosophy that rejects spiritual hierarchies, not human welfare. The Anarchist Cookbook, published in 1971, similarly provokes through its radical stance, offering instructions for creating explosives and drugs as a protest against institutional authority. Its philosophy, born of anti-war sentiment, seeks to disrupt systemic power, not to guide readers toward a life of evil. The text's impracticality, acknowledged by its author William Powell's later renunciation, underscores its performative nature, a cry against oppression rather than a manual for wickedness. Its subversive appeal lies in its challenge to governmental control, weaving threads of resistance into a narrative of defiance, not moral decay. The 120 Days of Sodom, written in 1785 and published in 1904, pushes provocation to extremes, its author Marquis de Sade exploring nihilism through graphic depictions of cruelty. Yet, as a fictional work, it probes moral boundaries, not prescribes them, threading philosophical questions about freedom and ethics into a literary tapestry, not a guide to evil living. These texts, widely read for their bold challenges, weave a shared narrative of provocation over malevolence. Their philosophies, individualism, resistance, ethical exploration, resonate with audiences seeking to question authority, not to harm others. Unlike an evil Bible, which would demand a commitment to wickedness or damnation, these works balance subversion with intellectual appeal, ensuring their place in cultural discourse. Their authors, aware of social boundaries, crafted texts that shock without crossing into actionable harm, avoiding the self-destruction that true malevolence invites. The Satanic Bible liberates, the Anarchist Cookbook protests, and the 120 Days of Sodom philosophizes, each threading ideas into a broader narrative of challenging norms, not codifying evil. This provocative nature reveals why no evil Bible exists. Subversion thrives on critique and appeal, not unmitigated wickedness, which lacks the philosophical coherence to sustain a widely accepted doctrine. Chapter 3. Esoteric Limits of Obscure Occult Texts. Obscure occult texts, steeped in magic and demonology, venture into the shadows of subversion, yet their philosophies fall short of an evil Bible. The Grand Grimoire, from the 18th century, weaves a tapestry of rituals for summoning Lucifer and casting curses, promising power through demonic pacts. Its philosophy, rooted in forbidden knowledge, subverts Christian prohibitions, yet its focus is on specific acts, not a lifestyle of evil. The Lesser Key of Solomon, from the 17th century, details invocations for 72 demons, threading ideas of control and esoteric wisdom into its narrative. The Book of Abramelin, from the 14th to 15th century, blends mysticism with demonic rituals, aiming for spiritual ascent through forbidden means. The True Grimoire, also from the 18th century, includes blood sacrifices for curses, while the Munich Manual of Demonic Magic, from the 15th century, explores necromancy and destructive spells. These grimoires, with their limited circulation, embody a dark allure, yet they fail to constitute an evil Bible. Their philosophies center on power and hidden knowledge, not unmitigated malevolence. Unlike the Bible's holistic guidance for righteous living, these texts offer ritual-specific instructions, weaving narratives of supernatural mastery, not moral decay. The Grand Grimoire seeks wealth or influence, the Book of Abramelin pursues divine connection, and the Munich Manual empowers practitioners to manipulate enemies. Their subversion lies in defying religious norms, condemned in scriptures like Leviticus 19 verse 31, but their goals are utilitarian, not damnation. They lack the theological framework of an evil Bible, which would require a commitment to hell or pervasive wickedness, instead threading ideas of esoteric empowerment into their rituals. The obscurity of these texts, confined to occult circles, reflects their limited appeal. Unlike widely read works that engage broad audiences, grimoires require belief in supernatural forces, alienating those focused on practical life. Their complex rituals and taboo content, feared by religious communities, ensure their marginalization, yet their philosophies remain rooted in human desires for control, not evil for its own sake. Even their most destructive rituals, curses, sacrifices, are means to an end, not a lifestyle of harm. The absence of an evil Bible among these texts underscores their philosophical limits. They weave narratives of power and mystery, not a cohesive doctrine of malevolence, revealing that even the darkest works prioritize utility over wickedness. Chapter 4. Human Impulses and the Absence of an Evil Doctrine. The absence of an evil Bible is rooted in human impulses that prioritize meaning, power, and survival over unmitigated malevolence. Subversive texts, whether political or metaphysical, reflect humanity's drive to challenge authority or seek hidden truths, not to embrace evil as a lifestyle. The Communist Manifesto and Rules for Radicals weave philosophies of justice and empowerment, subverting economic and institutional power to uplift the oppressed. Their narratives, grounded in social dynamics, resonate with those seeking change, not harm. The social contract and common sense thread ideas of liberty and self-governance, challenging tyranny with virtuous ideals. These texts, widely influential, illustrate that subversion often serves reformist goals, not moral decay. Metaphysical texts, like the Satanic Bible and the Book of the Law, explore spiritual rebellion, weaving narratives of individualism and esoteric wisdom. The Satanic Bible rejects divine authority, promoting self-interest, while the Book of the Law exalts personal will, both defying religious norms without advocating harm. Obscure grimoires, such as the Grimoire of Honorius and the Infernal Dictionary, delve deeper into demonology, threading ideas of supernatural power into their rituals. Yet, even these texts seek knowledge or control, not damnation, their philosophies reflecting human curiosity, not wickedness. The distinction between power-focused and metaphysical subversion highlights why no evil Bible exists. Both aim for empowerment, not destruction. Human psychology further thwarts a codified evil doctrine. Most individuals prioritize fulfillment, relationships, creativity, purpose, over dark pursuits. Occult texts appeal to a minority seeking uniqueness or control, but even these readers reject unmitigated evil, preferring philosophies of empowerment. Cultural norms, rooted in universal ethics, condemn harm, ensuring that texts advocating malevolence face rejection. Authors of subversive works, from Levi to Saad, balance provocation with intellectual appeal, avoiding the self-destruction of true evil. The absence of an evil Bible reflects this impulse. Humanity seeks meaning, even in rebellion, weaving narratives of power, justice, or wisdom, not chaos or damnation. This dynamic ensures that subversive texts, while challenging, remain tethered to human aspirations, not malevolent ruin. The final chapter. The myth of an evil Bible, a philosophical counterpart to the Holy Bible's guidance toward salvation, dissolves under scrutiny, revealing the impossibility of codifying malevolence. Subversive texts, from revolutionary manifestos to esoteric grimoires, weave a complex tapestry of ideas, challenging authority, religion, or norms, yet none fulfill the role of an evil Bible. Their philosophies, justice, liberty, individualism, or esoteric power, reflect human desires for meaning, not unmitigated wickedness. The absence of such a text is not a gap in human creativity but a testament to the enduring impulse to seek purpose over chaos, ensuring that even the darkest works remain tethered to reform, provocation, or empowerment. The historical evolution of subversive texts, from the Communist Manifesto to the Book of the Law, threads narratives of reform and rebellion, not evil. These works, widely influential, challenge systemic injustices or spiritual dogmas, weaving philosophies of equity or self-actualization. Their appeal lies in their alignment with human aspirations, not a call to harm or damnation. Popular texts like the Satanic Bible and the Anarchist Cookbook provoke through symbolic defiance or protest, their philosophies engaging audiences without crossing into malevolence. Their widespread acceptance, driven by cultural discourse, underscores their role as critiques, not guides to evil living. Obscure grimoires, such as the Grand Grimoire and the Munich Manual, venture into darker realms, threading ideas of demonic power and forbidden knowledge. Yet, their ritual-specific focus and esoteric appeal limit them to niche audiences, their philosophies rooted in control, not a lifestyle of wickedness. They lack the Bible's holistic narrative, offering tools, not doctrines, and fail to advocate damnation or unmitigated harm. Truly heinous texts, if they exist, remain so obscure that they evade cultural engagement, their content too repugnant for acceptance. This obscurity reflects humanity's rejection of pure malevolence, as even subversive thinkers prioritize utility or meaning. Human impulses, seeking power, justice, or wisdom, ensure that no evil Bible emerges. Political texts weave narratives of social change. Metaphysical texts explore hidden truths. Both reflect the human drive for purpose, not destruction. Psychological and cultural dynamics favor fulfillment over chaos, marginalizing texts that glorify harm. The Bible's vision of salvation has no dark twin, as subversive works, whether provocative or esoteric, weave threads of human aspiration, not malevolence. This inquiry affirms that the evil Bible is a myth, its absence a reflection of humanity's enduring quest for meaning, weaving a narrative that transcends the allure of wickedness and affirms the power of hope over despair.